Okay, what if I told you that reality, yes, reality itself, has an operating manual? You know, a set of design principles that when you follow them, things just work, they flow. And what if I told you that you don't have to take my word for it? You can actually test it for yourself starting tomorrow morning. Let's dive into exactly how you can run a one-week experiment to prove it.
First things first, I want you to think about this for a second. Seriously. We all have that one area in our life, don't we? Maybe it's a relationship, a project at work, a personal habit. You're pouring in so much energy, so much effort, but you get next to nothing back. It's like you're just spinning your wheels in the mud. Go ahead and get that specific area in your mind because that is exactly where we're going to start.
There's a name for this feeling. It's called friction. And it's that incredibly frustrating gap between all the effort you're putting in and the results you're actually seeing. You know, it's the biggest signpost there is that we're accidentally working against the design of reality instead of with it. And today, we're going to talk about how to get rid of it.
So how do we actually do that? Well, this is it, the 7-day specification test. And look, this isn't about just believing some new idea. Not at all. This is a practical, hands-on experiment that's designed to give you personal, undeniable proof that there is a much better way to operate.
Here's the game plan for the whole week. Think of it like a little scientific experiment on your own life. We're going to start by pinpointing that friction. Then, we put on our researcher hats and hunt for the right operating principle to fix it. We'll get a baseline, then run the big experiment. We'll even anticipate and document the pushback before we finally lock in the change and measure the difference. It's a really clear, step-by-step process designed to get you unstuck.
Now, what's so smart about this is how the week is structured. It's broken down into 2 really critical phases. For the first 3 days, you're just in observation mode. Your only job is to be a scientist. Just gather data on the problem without judging it, without trying to fix a single thing. This is so key because you can't solve a problem you don't really understand. Then for the last 4 days, you switch into action mode. You become the engineer, taking everything you learned and actively applying the new design spec you found.
So let's look at that observation protocol. On day 1, you just identify and write down that one area of friction. Easy enough. Day 2, you go on a hunt. You look at what works for successful people, you dig into ancient wisdom, you see what modern research says, all to find the correct specification. And then day 3 is crucial. You do exactly what you've always done. But this time, you write down exactly what happens. No fixing, just data.
Day 4. This is the turning point. This is the alignment experiment. You take your old habitual pattern. You know, like your default is to argue when you feel disrespected, and you intentionally replace it. You swap it with the new specification you found, like the principle of connect before you correct. You are literally consciously overriding your default programming. And yeah, it's going to feel unnatural at first, but this is where the magic happens.
All right, a heads up. Whenever you make a positive change, you should expect some pushback. Day 5 is all about documenting that resistance. It can be internal, your own old habits and feelings fighting you. It might be external, people around you who, frankly, were comfortable with the old you. There's even mention of spiritual opposition. But here's the most important part. You also document the breakthroughs, those moments where the new way works perfectly. Resistance is just a sign that you're on the right track.
And finally, we get to day 6 and 7. Day 6 is all about integration practice. It's about making this new alignment systematic, turning it from this thing you have to think about into a new, more natural habit. And then day 7, the testimony test, is where you get to look back at day 1 and objectively compare the results. So that brings us to the big question, right? How do you actually measure success? How do you know for sure if this whole experiment is really working? Well, it's not just some vague feeling. There are specific things you can actually track.
And this breaks it down perfectly. There are 2 ways to measure this. On one side, you've got your quantitative metrics, the hard numbers. How much energy did you use on a scale of 1 to 10? What were your stress levels? But just as important are the qualitative indicators. Do you feel a greater sense of peace instead of anxiety? Do you have more clarity instead of confusion? Are you experiencing flow instead of force? Real success is a combination of both.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this ancient piece of wisdom. What is the fruit of your experiment? After 7 days of aligning with this new principle, are you seeing better results? More peace? Healthier relationships? If the fruit is good, you know your alignment with reality's design is correct. The results really do speak for themselves.
And what's cool is this framework isn't just for one kind of problem. You can apply this method anywhere. For instance, if you're totally exhausted,
Your day 2 search might lead you to a design principle about intentional rest. If you're stuck in a relationship, you might discover a powerful protocol for forgiveness. The point is, this whole methodology of finding and applying a better design can be used anywhere you feel that friction in your life.
So, we've walked through the whole theory, the entire process. But look, knowledge without application is totally useless. We've reached the most important part, the critical commitment. This is where it goes from just being an interesting idea to becoming a life-changing experiment for you.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear about what this is. This is not about religion asking you for blind faith or to just believe something. This is about reality itself offering you a chance for empirical testing and personal verification. You do not have to believe a single thing up front. You just have to be willing to run the experiment and see the results for yourself. So it all boils down to this one simple question. The manual is there. The test is already designed. The only variable left in this whole equation is you. Are you going to run the test? Just think about it. That area of friction, the one you thought about at the very beginning, it doesn't have to stay that way. Reality itself is waiting to show you how it's designed to work. So the only question left is, are you ready to find out? Your experiment can begin tomorrow morning.